Alright, in part 2, let's have a look at another type of analytical question to ask you. Alright, so the previous question was all about quadrilaterals. Now this question is going to be about analytical geometry, but in terms of a triangle. Alright, so if we look at question 2, it says, given point X, 1, 2, Y, 3, 6, and Z, 7, 4. Now, if they don't give you a sketch, the best thing to do is always to draw yourself a quick, rough sketch. Alright, so we can see that point X is a point 1, 2, so it means the X value is 1, and the Y value is 2. So it will be 1, 2, so that will be about here. Alright, so there is my point X. Alright, then I have Y, so Y is a point 3, 6, so my X value is 3, my Y value is 6, okay, so that will be about there. Alright, then my last one is point Z, so my X value is 7, and my Y value is 4, so that will be about there. Alright, so if we connect these three dots, I have a triangle that more or less looks like this. Alright, obviously, as I said, it's not on scale, but you get the idea. Alright, now let's go and have a look at the questions. So the first question says, show that triangle XYZ is a right-angled triangle. Of in Afrikaans, wys dat driehoek XYZ 'n reghoekige driehoek is. Now, a right-angled triangle means that you need to have an angle that is 90 degrees. Meaning you will have somewhere in my triangle, I will need a 90 degrees, which means two lines will be perpendicular. Twee lyne gaan loodreg wees. Now, in the previous video, I already mentioned it, but whenever you hear anything about parallel lines, 90-degree angles, or perpendicular lines, you know that you have to go and do something with gradients. Alright, now remember the fact of gradients regarding perpendicular lines of loodregte lyne. It means that the gradient of my first line times the gradient of my second line will be -1. Then I know that I have perpendicular, or in Afrikaans, loodregte lyne. There is going to be a 90-degree angle. Alright, so let's quickly look at our triangle. Where do you think most likely will be a 90-degree angle? I will say right here. Alright, which means that this line XY has to be perpendicular to YZ. Alright, because those two lines will form my 90-degree angle. So the first thing we have to do is calculate the gradient of XY. So ons gaan die gradient gaan uitwerk van XI. And we're going to calculate the gradient of my second line. So my second line will be YZ. Alright, so we always start by writing down our formula. So it's Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. So Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. Alright, now my X coordinate was the point 1, 2, and my Y coordinate is the point 3, 6. Alright, so let's say that this is my X1, Y1, X2, Y2. So if we substitute that in, I will have my Y2, which is 6, minus my Y1, which is 2, over my X2 value, which is 3, my X1 value, which is 1. So 6 minus 2 is 4, 3 minus 1 is 2, so the gradient of XY is 2. Now we're going to repeat it on the other side. Alright, so we're going to now work with Y and Z. So my Y coordinate is 0.36, and my Z coordinate is for 0.74. Alright, so let's say this is my X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Let's substitute it in. Alright, so my Y2 value is 4, my Y1 value is 6, so it's 4 minus 6 over 7 minus 3, which will give me negative 2 over 4, which is negative a half. Now remember, if my two lines are perpendicular, it means that this times this, so my two angles have to give me negative 1. So let's try it. So the angle gradient of xy times the gradient of yz is 2 times negative a half, which is in fact negative 1. Therefore, we know that there will be a 90-degree angle because xy is perpendicular to yz. xy is loodreg op yz, wat vir my sê dat hierdie 'n 90 grade driehoek is. This is in fact a 90-degree triangle. So whenever you have to prove something 90 degrees, it means you have to get the two gradients of the two lines you think will make that 90-degree angle, get both gradients, multiply the gradients, and if it does give you an answer of negative 1, you know that in fact those two lines are perpendicular, so there is a 90-degree angle. Alright, now the second questions, they say determine the perimeter of x, y, z. Alright, in Afrikaans bepaal die omtrek van driehoek x, y, z. Now whenever you have to work out the perimeter of an area, you need to have the length. Okay, you need to know how long your sides are. So you're going to have to work with a distance formula. Right, so jy gaan altyd met die afstandsformule moet werk wanneer jy die omtrek of die oppervlakte van iets wil uitwerk. So in this green bubble, I showed you the formulas. Please write them down because they are very important. So to work out the perimeter, om die omtrek uit te werk, you always take your three sides or your four sides if it's a quadrilateral, and you add those four sides or three sides together. If it is for area of the oppervlakte, it is a half times your base times your perpendicular height. Half maal jou basis maal jou loodregte hoogte. Alright, so because we have a triangle and we want to work out the perimeter, I'm going to get basically the length of side xy plus yz plus my other side would be xz. Now you're going to calculate all of them on exactly the same method. So I'm not going to show you all the different ways in this video, but I'm going to do one with you and give you the answers and the solutions to the other two, which you can then try on your own. Alright, so let's start by calculating the distance of xy. Alright, so my formula is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Alright, so my x value or my x coordinate was 1, 2, and my y coordinate was a point 3, 6. Alright, so we're just going to take these two values and substitute it in. So this is my x1, y1, x2, y2. So putting it in, it will be my x2 value, which is 3, minus my x value, which is 1 squared, plus my y2 value, which is 6, minus my y1 value, which is 2. Alright, and if I put this into my calculator exactly like this, I will get an answer of, I will get an answer of 2 root 5. Alright, so I know the length of line xy is 2 root 5. Alright, let's do the same for the distance of yz. Alright, so we know the formula. Let's just quickly get my z coordinate. So my z coordinate is a 0.74. Alright, so let's say that this is going to be my x2, y2, and then this will be my x1, y1. Alright, so I'll put in 7 minus 3 squared plus 4 minus 6 squared. And if I calculate that, let's quickly see what we get. You will also get an answer of 2 root 5. Alright, so the last one I want to work out. I did xy, I did yz, so I still need to get the distance of xz. Alright, I'm just going to do it up here because I'm running out of space. Alright, so we want to get the distance of xz. Alright, so it will be the square root. So let's keep it like it is. So my x2 value is 7. So it will be 7 minus 1 squared plus my y will be 4 minus 2 squared. And if I put that into my calculator, I get a value of 2 root 10. Alright, so now to work out the perimeter, om die omtrek uit te werk, I have to take these three lengths, so 2 root 5, plus it with my second side, which is also 2 root 5, plus it with my last side, which is 2 root 10. And if I do that on my calculator, I will get a perimeter of 'n omtrek van if you make it a decimal, 15,27 units. Alright, so very important, this is not a difficult question. Whenever I ask you to determine the perimeter of the area of a shape, wanneer ek ook vir jou vra om die omtrek of die oppervlakte van 'n voorwerp uit te werk, it means for the perimeter, vir die omtrek, you have to add all your sides together. So obviously you first have to get the length of all your sides, sê wat die lengte van al jou sye kry, met jou afstandsformule. And then to work out the area, you're going to use that formula. Once again, to get your side length, you're going to use your distance formula. These two questions are very important for examination purposes.